Hi, a very good afternoon to all of you. So today with us we have Professor Rahul Rao from Ahmedabad University, and he has taken out time, especially to answer the queries which many students are continuously asking with respect to the master's program at Ahmedabad University. So first of all, let me just welcome Rahul sir for taking out time and discuss and answer a few queries of the students. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you for having me. Uh, I'm very looking forward to this conversation.
Great, sir. Okay. To introduce Rahul, sir, he completed his BTech and completed his PhD in economics from IIM Bangalore. Okay. And he has been associated with Ahmedabad University for the past 1 year. Okay. And in terms of his key areas, he focuses mainly on monetary economics, financial economics, and key work in macroeconomics overall, which is sir's forte to say. Right, sir?
Yes, you can also add spatial economics
Yes,
in
special
those
economics.
subfields. Yeah.
Exactly. Great, great. Okay, sir. First of all, sir, let's go and tell us about your working in the sense ki, if you could just share some light in terms of your research work, the findings that you have done, and especially it adds even more value because you have done your PhD from one of the most reputed institutes of India, IIM Bangalore, right? So if you could just share some light on that, sir.
Sure, Rajesh. So basically, I work in the area of macroeconomics broadly. My current research work spans the subfields of, as you pointed out rightly, monetary, financial, and spatial economics. So let me tell you about my PhD thesis work, which lies at the intersection of macro and spatial economics. So we all know that in India, we use a lot of land in the agriculture sector, with around 60% of total land classified as agricultural land in India. So this means there is a limited supply of land for other sectors in the economy, which hampers both urbanization and industrialization processes, right? So in my thesis, I calculated the minimum amount of land that is required to produce the total crop output in each district of India. Then I compared it with the actual land used by farmers in that district. The difference between the two numbers is the quantum of land that could potentially be freed up from agriculture usage or other non-agricultural purposes in that district.
Okay.
So in order to make this calculation that I cite, the minimum amount of land which is required to produce the total crop output in any district, we basically need to know the potential yield of any given crop on any given piece of land.
Okay.
Now, this is where the spatial angle comes. This data is provided in a geocoded manner by Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, of the United Nations. So they use the soil condition, topography, and climatic conditions. They use all these geographic conditions for every piece of land, and then they calculate the potential yield in kg per hectares for each crop on each piece of land. So that's the spatial angle. So once I've calculated how much land can be freed up from each district in India, so I also know what could be freed up from India in total. So then I come to the macro part of my work, wherein I use a two-sector economic model to answer that what happens if we reallocate this freed up land to manufacturing sector of India.
Sure.
So as expected, we find that reallocation of land will increase real income by more than 9% and GDP by around 7%.
Okay.
At the same time, wages will go up and land prices will come down because the workers will now shift to more productive manufacturing sector. As more land goes there, more employment opportunities come up there, more economic activity happens in the manufacturing sector. And at the same time, agriculture sector also becomes more productive. So the land prices also go down, but the wages go up. So that is a brief, sneak peek into my research work. I also work in the areas of monetary and financial economics, but let me just keep to this one. So, right now I'm collaborating with one of my colleagues here at Ahmedabad University, Professor Aranya Chakrabarti, and Professor Digvijay Singh Negi of IGIDR. So there we are trying to look at the inefficiency of agricultural production, how it responds to providing more access to information to farmers. And the context is set in Bangladesh.
Okay, context is set with Bangladesh. Okay.
Yes. So that is where my research in this area is going right now.
Amazing, amazing. So a couple of things that it highlights the fact that the domain that you have picked up, which is agriculture economics, kind of have that glimpse of it.
Yeah,
Not
it's not really agriculture economics, it's a more of a macro question because there is a misallocation between the two sectors, between different sectors in an economy.
true.
So as we know, land is also a very important factor of production for the manufacturing sector. Where would you set up your factories?
No
Where
doubt.
would you set up all these industries? Where will you build roads if every land is tagged as agricultural? So it's very important to know whether we can free up some agricultural land in India or not without hampering our agricultural output.
Correct, correct.
That is where I come in and try to answer that important question for policy making as well.
Great, great. So this actually highlights the fact how indulged a faculty is in the field of economics and in what variety or the domains a faculty is looking at to work further. Not only apart from teaching, of course. Nowadays, you look for a faculty who's not only good in teaching, but of course they can guide their students into the fields which are untapped for future prospects, and most importantly, of course, be a mentor or a guide for them throughout their, in particular, like we are talking about our master's course right now at your Ahmedabad University. So definitely it will help student. But based on this itself, I would like to ask, sir, like whenever the student comes at Ahmedabad University, right? So in your course at Ahmedabad University, which subjects or which topics or courses you are taking in particular, or which are
So
taken?
so we have just completed the academic year, and I have been here since last 1 year. So in the last year, I have taught introductory macro and intermediate macroeconomics courses
Okay.
at both UG and PG level. At UG, I taught it to the BBA students. There
Right.
were also the BA students in BA and BTech students also there in that class. And I've also taught the MA economics students along with the MSQF students. So we run another program in the finance area called Masters of Science in Quantitative Finance.
Okay.
So both these students used to take my class.
Great, great. Okay, so this was about Rahul, sir. Now, in terms of when we talk about important features or factors, okay, there are multiple factors that come into picture when someone has to go for a master's course in economics. Okay,
Right.
and this is very important because now you have a number of universities, okay, and it
True.
becomes a very dilemma for students to see which course is how good a course is at XYZ University or ABC University. So according to you, what are the important aspects which student must consider for their masters in economics program when they go for that?
Right. So I think, Vijesh, the most important aspect is the interest in the subject of economics at the first place.
Completely.
So if they don't feel any curiosity towards the subject, then they are going to feel the degree to be a waste of time and their time and they won't be able to take any benefits out of this program. So first is the interest in economics subject, whether it really interests them or not, whether they feel, some sort of inner calling for that, okay, these questions actually interest me if I know answers to these questions. And secondly, you have to have some degree of comfort with maths because, maths is the language of economics nowadays. It has always been. And now data science has become its go-to toolkit, right? So unless a student is ready to understand the essential math and stats topic, go behind, if you want to look and analyze at any economics problem, you need to have this maths and stats knowledge and working understanding of all these statistical softwares where you analyze the data sets. So unless you are able to do that, unless you have interest there, you won't be able to fully leverage your MA economics degree.
Correct, correct. So the first point that you highlighted is something even I put more emphasis on, which is your interest in the subject. And it holds true not only in economics, for any subject for that matter. Unless you have that interest in the subject, you won't be able to go the long distance, right? Because
Right.
then you won't have interest in the subject, then you won't find a good job profile, or you might be stuck. So that's a very valid point, that the interest in the subject is very important. And nowadays, we of course see key in the market, the job market in particular, where many of the students are directly concentrating on, because not
Right.
much go for, let's say, a PhD work, or don't go for a government job, but they want to go for a corporate sector. But the corporate sector, like you rightly highlighted, they look for the new industry tools like machine learning, data analytics, data science, and all many more softwares to put in that way. So yeah, both these points very well highlighted. So, but now, like again, coming more or less on the same lines, what is the unique part, or what is that unique feature that Ahmedabad University puts it on the table for the students, wherein they can see, so this feature or this element, this point is rock solid, and it differentiates Ahmedabad University from XYZ college or university, and I'm ready to go at this. So what is that unique highlighting point?
Right. So we do take into consideration all the aspects which are important for an MA economics student in order to understand the subject better, and also equip them with all these tools in order to, get a job in the market, and also to make better use of their skills. So we focus on delivering a curriculum which is, which is integrating quantitative skills and data science skills in it.
Okay.
And that's why our curriculum then sets itself apart from any standard MA Econ program in the country, because it is quantitative and data science integrated curriculum. So in this curriculum, we basically are making students go through a number of core courses, where a number of courses will be driven towards, enabling them to improve their data analysis skills. They will be mostly math and data stats courses, mainly. And we also give them these tech courses. So, for example, machine learning, that is actually a major differentiator of our program. We do offer a machine learning course as a core course now. So all ME Econ graduates would know machine learning. They would know Python when they graduate from our university.
Okay.
So a machine learning program for policy outcomes, that is there. And yeah, so yeah, so this is the main, like the data science and the quantitative part is where we mostly focus upon, and then rest are the standard econ courses that we definitely provide, which other ME Econ programs are also providing. But we have more focus upon these quantitative skills. So even if, say, you are doing micro or macroeconomics, but you will do some substantial amount of maths, you will find some substantial amount of maths. You will not just go through it like a story.
Theoretical,
You'll have to do some, yeah, because it's a master's program. We cannot, if we do just you just read the chapters and then you go away, then it's an injustice to the students who to come here.
Correct. So, first of all, not a theoretical approach, because it's more or less doesn't add much value to your knowledge as well and skill sets as well. It's more practical, quantitative approach, which nowadays even students seek for. But the point that I like the most was that you said key machine learning part is a part of the core subject.
Right.
Not only the electives, but the core subject as well. Meaning,
Right.
Student doesn't have any opportunity, but they can't skip machine learning. They will have to make sure that they learn those skill sets right there itself. Okay, so
Right. And because right now this machine learning, it is so much in vogue in the industry.
agree.
And if you know machine learning tools, your demand automatically goes up in the market. Whether you are looking at, say, even for PhDs, if you are looking for, it adds to your application.
No doubt.
And I would like to add one more point, Brijesh, to your earlier point. So we do focus upon the theoretical part of economic subjects, all the economics topics. Their theories are covered, but at the same time, you will find some data-driven application, which will also be a part of the syllabus. So say you will have to do a project, you will be given some assignments in which you can't just solve them with the help of your theoretical knowledge, but you will have to deal with the data, or you'll have to do some exercises yourself, use the software. So those things are integrated.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, so this was something that I really wanted to hear from you itself, because many students, when they came and asked about the course at Ahmedabad University, so they were kind of linking the course with some other universities as well, highlighting ki haan, they also offer same and same more or less. But the key factor, differentiating factor for me is making a subject like machine learning or a skill set like machine learning and all the elements in that. Okay, making it as a core subject, that is an important differentiator as well. So, like talking about the electives, because usually when we talk about, let's say, R का course हो गया या Python हो गया या
Mhm.
they even offer machine learning nowadays, but majority of the institution offer it as a electives. ठीक है. So what are
Okay.
your electives at Ahmedabad University that your institution offers in terms of electives overall?
So we can think about electives in terms of these different buckets which exist. So there are like economics electives, of course, which make the largest bucket of electives. So in that you will have like game theory, international trade, industrial organization, models of political economy, health economics, monetary economics, like this.
Okay.
Then you have another bucket which is data science and tech electives. They are more oriented towards these where you learn R. Python, we are going to make a core because otherwise you cannot learn machine learning. So
Right.
say R is there. Then there is GIS where I work. So applications of GIS and economics. Then there are stats courses like stochastic processes.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are finance courses like fintech and financial services. They are also tech part. So then there are other like big data for economics.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are finance electives. So like for example, our current cohort of ME students, they have a very high liking towards these finance courses. They
Okay.
because they think that these courses can land them good
Exactly.
jobs,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah, and they're not like wrong in that thinking. So there we have a number of electives which are offered from the finance area, and we have a parallel program running MSQF. So the MA Econ students and MSQF, some of their core courses are same, so they build those friendships, and they will get to know like not just friendship because our courses are there on our system
Right.
always, so they can see all the finance electives which are being offered in a term. So something like securities analysis and portfolio management, corporate finance, international finance, those are there. Then there is one more kind of elective that we at Ahmedabad University, take pride in offering. Those are called problem studio electives. So
Yeah.
problem studios are something like you do not have to sit through a lecture and pass an exam, and that's where you say that you passed this particular course. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to go to the field, do some survey,
Mm-hmm.
build your knowledge by going in the real world, and
Right.
on the basis of that you will be evaluated. So we have these two courses for MA Econ, but there are also other area courses which they can opt for as problem studio elective. So
Mm-hmm.
those two are sustainability and circular economy, where they go out and talk to businesses in Ahmedabad city, how they are adopting sustainability or how they are being challenged by sustainable issues, why their business is not able to run sustainably, and how is the circular economy working, how much waste are these businesses producing, what can they do with that waste. So students go and analyze such problems. Then there is also one course being offered. It's named Urban and Formal Economy.
Mm-hmm.
So wherein the students go out in the city and they talk to these daily workers. They
Okay.
get to know their demographic characteristics, whether they are mostly migrants or they are coming from different parts of Gujarat
Right.
to Ahmedabad, right? What kinds of problems do they face when they live in a city? Do
Right.
they Are they able to get affordable housing? What are the kinds of rents that they have to pay? How
Right.
do they take care of their children's education, their children's health? Where do they go to vote? Does anyone listen to them in the from the authorities in the government?
Right.
So those kind of things also. So they provide a taste of the real world, and a lot of primary work is done by students in such courses.
Okay. So, in fact, the last point that you highlighted, that is something that going right on the ground and
Yes.
learning and working and taking out inputs from the people out there, depending upon whether you go to a very fintech company or whether you in fact go to a rural migrant coming in there. So that's a very good point to say ki they actually not only do practical thing, theoretical thing, but they also go on ground as well. So is it something, sir, ki, like it's about like electives is like optional, or they how's the interest in these kind of things like?
So electives are there, like we have the system called ORIS, which is Ahmedabad University Research Information System. So
Okay.
students get to pick their courses or register for the courses online itself. So if there are some electives which are being offered in this term,
Okay.
then they will, so there will be some quota of 4 credits that they will have to do in a
Okay.
particular term. So in the first year, most of the core courses are actually done for ME Econ. In
Ah,
the second year, there are only a few core courses which remain, most of which require some previous core as a prerequisite. And then the second year, most are basically electives. So you have to fulfill all your credits mostly through picking up these various electives. And even in the first year, there is some scope for elective uh, choice.
great, great. Okay, so sir, like I was going through the website and all the, of course, the course program and everything, right? For Masters in Eco at Ahmedabad University, and there I could see our honorable former RBI Governor, Professor Chakravarti Rangarajan, right?
Yeah.
So he's there in the list of faculties, as we can see, teaching at the Ahmedabad universities. So overall, what has been his role in terms of bringing such a reputed course at Ahmedabad University, in terms of designing it, formulating it? So what has been his role in this?
So Professor C. Rangarajan is definitely a distinguished faculty at our university. Currently, he's serving as a professor emeritus. So he does not teach courses regularly, but whenever there is a need, he is there. And he actually comes down to his office, sits there whenever he's taking classes. So it's actually very inspiring to see a figure like him around. And he has been there with us since the inception of the MA program, which started, I think, back in 2018. So his main, he provides overall guidance to the program, you can say, and his insights are definitely crucial for long-term strategic direction to the program and to the area at large. But he's not involved in the day-to-day activities or as such. He has entrusted the younger faculty members with the task of designing the curriculum, and taking the courses for the program.
Amazing. So, anyways, being there at the campus itself, and he might just come up and have a conversation with, especially when a new batch comes in. So, someone
Right.
with structure coming in over there and just speaking for minutes as well is kind of very motivating for all the aspirants. Great, great.
Definitely it is. And it is for us as well, actually,
No doubt. No
as
doubt.
young faculty members. We also look up to him, definitely.
Correct, correct. Okay, so when we talk about any course, for example, let it be MBA or Masters in Economics, right? So there are some prospects which every student looks at it. Okay, when we
Mhm.
talk about the career options, right? So what are the various career options post Masters in Economics that you would like to highlight? And in terms of internships, campus placements after the program? What are the roles? So overall, if you could just highlight on the fact which is actually students are more keen towards, which is the final goal as well, like the placements and over.
Right, right. No, it is definitely a very important aspect for any student to consider where to do an MA economics from. But like in general, if you have done an MA econ, there is a range of job roles in the market for you, starting from data analyst to policy analyst. You can work at banks, insurance firms. You can take up journalism if you want, economics. There are a number of pink papers out there, means those who carry financial and economics news. There are policy think tanks, government sector, and of course, you can go out for a PhD as well in economics or related fields. Coming to Ahmedabad University, we have a dedicated center for this purpose, which is called CDC, Career Development Center.
Okay.
Its role is to support students in terms of calling various companies to the campus for both internship and placements. They can offer, these companies can offer various roles to the students. And since it's a university level facility, this facility is used by all students across all schools and programs at both UG and PG level. Coming to MA Econ, I think I have the statistic. Let me just bring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2024, the highest package in MA Econ was around 7.2 lakhs, while the average has been around 6 lakhs, 6.1 lakhs. And the same has been the statistic for the previous 2 years as well, where I have the data.
Okay.
And the companies which have come here, they are also a wide-ranging, they have a wide-ranging portfolio. So these are basically your asset management companies like Bandhan AMC, DSP Asset Managers, Elara Capital. Then there is Dun and Bradstreet Company, Nielsen IQ, and there are many other companies which have come. So I may not have their names with me. Additionally, we also have a tie-up with National Stock Exchange, which is always looking for MA Econ students for their various analyst roles. And we have a tie-up with them. So if an MA Econ student is willing to go ahead and work with NSC, so we can provide that channel to them.
Okay, amazing. Because being there in Gujarat, I feel the gift city is also
Right, right.
So you have even
NSC is situated now in Gift City, right?
exactly. So you have the students. I see in that way there are more opportunities in terms of companies coming in at the campus. Might just visit the campus for recruitment. You highlight some of the biggest names, Bandhan Bank for the one of the arms, and then you have DNB for the research work, Nelson.
Right.
So it's a mix of both research institutions, organizations, along with the
Yeah,
financial.
there are think tanks as well. So I forgot this very important name of CMI. Many of our students actually have gone there in the past as well. So this is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy.
Okay.
So this is basically, so all the data sets that we use for India. So they conduct these large surveys and then they build these data sets. So it is a very good role for any ME Econ student to have after their degree.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are also a regular like recruiter with us.
Okay. So when a student go through all these information, of course, they look at another important key element, which is the fees ticket. Then you have the scholarship, and then of course you have one of the point is the batch size, so as to see the teacher-student ratio as well. So if you could highlight on these three features, fees, scholarship, and the batch size as well.
So let me start with the batch size. So we try to keep the batch size small so as to ensure better focus on each student, because otherwise if we have very large classes, the teacher's attention is thinly split and they cannot know whether each student is getting it or not. And because we always encourage these master's classes to be more interactive in nature, it's not just a one-way lecture mode. So our batch size is small. So this year, for example, we already have around 8 to 10 admissions, and we are targeting around or expecting around 20 MA Econ students to be there, a batch size of 20 around. For the fees and scholarships, so there is a very good amount of scholarship that Ahmedabad University provides. So the total fees of 2 years is 5 lakhs, which comes down to 2.5 lakhs per annum, but we do provide a scholarship of 75,000 per annum.
Okay.
So that you actually end up paying only 2.5 lakhs for the total course, or 1.25 lakhs per annum. So it is scholarship plus there is a teaching fellowship, which is also there. So teaching fellowship is contingent upon your grades that you are able to obtain in your first year. So if you are above a threshold, then you can access that teaching fellowship, so that maximum you can go up to 1.5 lakhs worth of, sorry, you can go up to 1.25 lakhs worth of scholarship plus fellowship in a year, so that 1 year fees gets reduced to just 1.25 lakhs.
Okay. Okay. So it's not only the scholarship part that Ahmedabad University offers, but all, of course, the fellowship program that the university has come
Yes,
up.
the teaching fellowship. Yes.
Okay. So just a small info on the fellowship, right? So how do students work in this? Like they work out with, they help the faculties or take some sessions? Because honestly, a couple of students wanted to ask the fellowship wala point.
Yeah. So this is basically called a TA. You are a teaching assistant to a professor. So there are some minimum number of TAs that you should do in one term. So for ME Econ students, I suppose it is two, or I think two is because they also are doing a number of courses. So if they do that, then for one term they get some amount of fellowship, and then the next term. Yeah.
Great, great. Okay. So
So they're in their main role, so it does not really hamper their academic, you know.
the academic.
So we make sure that the TA, the timing of the TA-ship does not coincide with their own lectures.
So there is no trade-off between the two. It's very
Yes.
convenient for the students. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, universities in Ahmedabad, right? So there will be students coming from across the country, correct?
Right.
So irrespective of Ahmedabad University, whenever a student moves out of their hometown, they need to look for the accommodation. They need to look for the hostel facility, or
Right.
they will have to rely on some outside PGs, which might be more expensive as well, and might not be even secure as well, right? So that's the
Right.
reason they prefer hostel facilities. So what's the hostel facility scenario at Ahmedabad University for our MA Economics students?
So MA Econ students, just like our all other students, they do get a student housing facility, which is outside campus.
Hmm.
So on campus, we don't have any student housing as of now, but we have the university has hired a building
Ah,
which acts like a hostel.
correct. Okay.
So students live there, and they are also building new student housing now.
Okay.
So yeah, there is no problem of housing as such. You don't have to live in the PGs.
So it's not within the campus, but it is the part of the university only, the hostel building, you can call it, which
Yeah,
university.
so the hostel building will be out, like you have to go a little far. It's not that far, within 1 kilometer only.
Correct. But at least far better than the PG scenario, of course.
Yes, yes,
Right.
definitely.
Than the university. Okay. So now that, of course, the registrations are going on for numerous admissions, right? So
Mhm.
could you just now highlight the process for the Masters in Economics course, which starts with, of course, the eligibility ticket.
Mhm.
The second point would be, now that I'm eligible, what is the process? How can I apply? And if this is these are the steps of applying for MA Eco course, what is the last date before which I need to apply for my course?
Okay, so for the eligibility, I think I don't have the exact information, but let me just, gather some information I had earlier. Um, just a minute. So yeah, so like I think normal eligibility is you should have at least 50% marks in your bachelor's, right? And your bachelor's could be a 3-year or a 4-year one.
Okay,
So that is not a problem.
correct.
And then we actually have our own entrance test, which is followed by personal interactions.
Okay,
We also accept the CUET PG scores if
okay,
a student wants that to be considered in place of our entrance test.
okay, great.
So here students, so there is no CUET cutoff as of now that we are following. We are looking at the overall score from CUET plus personal interaction,
Okay,
or your test, the Ahmedabad University test plus personal interaction.
amazing.
So that makes some, then we consider some cutoff, and that decides your eligibility.
Okay,
Uh, for the admission timelines, I have some information with me. It is like you have the last date to submit online application is 10th June
correct. Okay,
as of now. The application fees is rupees 1200,
okay,
right? And once you have appeared for the online personal interaction, then the results are declared in 3 to 4 weeks time, right? So classes will start from 1st of August, and there is an orientation which starts in the last week of July. They may also have to come early for, there's a bridge preparation course that we offer students, so that if somebody is coming from a non-maths background, so they also do not find any difficulty in catching up with the curriculum that we have designed for MBA.
Okay. So when you say ki there is the university test and you are also accepting the CUET scorecard as well. So
Yeah.
so it helps both the students, someone who
Right.
wasn't given the CUET paper. There can be some students exception. They can give your university test and then of course personal interaction, and based on the final score they can get admission. And for the students who have given CUET, they can also go for their CUET score and the personal interaction. And of course, there is no cutoff as of now, at least. Overall scorecard will be prepared post CUET score and the personal interaction.
Right. So we do give, because the person in the personal interaction, we also look at students' ability for data analysis, maths and stats aptitude, and general economic awareness. So we want all the components to be there when we make the decision.
Okay. Great. Okay, sir. So thank you so much for all the information. We try to cover as much questions as possible. Try to ask all the valid points in terms, starting with of course, the course structure, the electives. Nowadays, electives are very important for any course, until unless students are mesmerized by the university tag itself. But electives are very important. They plays a key role in the entire 2-year duration. And then of course, going for the placements, internships, and the fees. I like the fellowship wala part, which helps the students to kind of be both be on the learning side as well and helping out the professors and the other departments as well. So again, thank you so much, sir. If there's anything you wish to send as a message to students who wish to join Ahmedabad University, if you have anything to share with them.
So I would say that please do come here. Please do consider Ahmedabad University. We have a fantastic faculty pool. Our economics area is, I don't have, and there is no metric as such, but I believe research potential wise, we are definitely in the top 10, maybe even higher than that. So that way, especially if you are a research oriented person, you should definitely consider Ahmedabad University. It provides you the necessary rigor, depth, and breadth in terms of the courses and the curriculum that we offer you in the MA-Econ program.
Amazing. And of course, under the guidance and the blessings of former RBI Governor, Professor.
Definitely, yes.
So we can see an amazing course out there at Ahmedabad University. And thank you so much.
We also have one economics conference. Sorry, I forgot to add that. So we also have one annual economics conference whose reputation is growing year after year.
Okay.
So, for example, this year we received around more than 200, papers for submissions, paper submissions in that conference. Okay. And there were around, I think, 70 or something papers which were actually presented during the conference. And so many reputed faculty from abroad and from India came here, delivered keynote addresses. There were 2 industry panels in which Professor C. Rangarajan, the serving member of the Monetary Policy Committee, Professor Ashima Goyal, was also there. Nice. So we do keep inviting such eminent speakers and economics, personalities. So that is also a very good attraction for students, especially those who want to do a PhD. So this will help them build a good network.
Agree.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for highlighting the information, sir. And once again, thank you so much for your time and duly answering all the questions, all the prospective queries, or the questions which students have at this point of time. And we look forward to having another conversation in future with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.